I want to welcome everybody to Iowa Postgame featuring Kachine Alexander and former Hawkeye men's basketball assistant coach, Gary Close. We are here over the next hour to hour and a half to talk Iowa hoops and two very different results tonight with very impactful, just very impactful results, I should say, that I think will impact both of these teams' March resumes as we trudge into mid-February, the shortest month of the year, as we get closer and closer to the greatest month in college basketball. We welcome Kachine Alexander into the show at this time. Kachine, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here, as always. I'm so glad that we're here to talk about our women's basketball victory. I want to give a couple of quick, I want to preface everything I'm about to say by giving a disclaimer. Nobody is going to tell you, me, or Gary how much time to spend talking about men's basketball versus how much time to talk about women's basketball. This is a show that is 100% free, and I know in the past when we do these combined shows, we can't be people pleasers. It's just not possible. We're not going to be here for 4 hours. We can't give equal time, and both games deserve talk and recognition, both for different reasons. So the conversation will go where the conversation goes. I have no outline. I never do. But to start with, let's talk about the women because that's what just finished, and it's obviously the better result to discuss, Kachine. And we know you're a Hawkeye women's basketball great. This team needed a bounce-back victory after a rough stretch, and they got it tonight against the top 25 Washington Huskies team by a final count of 65-56 behind a really impressive performance from Chit Chat Wright and Hannah Stolke. They were both really good in a great Hawkeye crowd. What are your initial takeaways from the victory?
I think for me, no matter what kind of victory, I feel like it's just good to get back in the win category. And and it shows them that they can win with this new look of a team, you know? I mean, I like, obviously, Hannah. She played well. 16 rebounds, I believe it is. I think, like we've talked about many times on the show, that is what drives her in every aspect, with her emotion, with her rebounding. It kind of just drives the team in general. And I think part of why rebounding works for her, obviously she's good at it, right? But in order to rebound, you have to have high energy. You can't do one without the other. So I think for her, when she is rebounding well, that equates to her having high energy, which is what we've all said is kind of her bread and butter and kind of propels not only her, but the team as well. Chit chat, man, did we need those threes? I think that's a good thing for her and getting her more aggressive. There's definitely been some changes in the women's coaching staff in regards to getting some plays for her to get open threes in general, just kind of create. And I think that is probably the best thing they probably have made an adjustment on in that aspect. So, I mean, our defense still isn't where I would like it to be, but I'll take it for where we are right now.
Is this the first night you've seen a concerted effort to give more offensive plays or draw up more stuff for Chit Chat specifically?
Correct.
So
I feel like if my mind serves me right, it seems like what they have done, they're not making up anything different. Now, what I will say is I did see what I drew up on the board that one day. At the beginning of the game, Hannah was just standing in the high post and they were playing it how everybody should play it. And then one time when she ran up to the high post, she just kept running to go set a ball screen. And I was like, thank God, right? But it seems like what they're doing with Chit Chat is literally just putting Chit Chat in the spot that Taylor McCabe was in. And running those plays that we've seen Taylor run to get her an open three. It seems like they're running those for her, which I said when Taylor went out, you're going to have to do that because she's our best three-point shooter. So I get we want the ball in our hands, but we can't have both ways. And if we can get away with no pressure, you know, and having to have her be that pressure release, then let's get her in a scoring position.
Obviously, Washington turned the ball over 8 times in the second quarter. But besides the 8 turnovers, how do you explain 25 Husky points in the first quarter to 5 points for Washington in the second?
I think it was a combination of things. I know people are going to want me to say that it was all us, but it wasn't. But I think for us, we did turn up our intensity one. I think that our on-ball defense is what changed in that quarter. However, we were still giving up open threes. They just weren't hitting them. So our three-point defense has got to get better in that aspect. But overall, like I said before, we turned up our intensity on defense, especially on ball, and I think that disrupted them enough.
Let's take our first call of the night. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Hey, this is Jay in North Kachine, Carolina.
Hey, Jay. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that. Hey, Kachine. Hey, Corey. I like it here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
He's talking to me.
So I don't know if you were watching the same game I was watching, but I would ask for. Because going back to the Baylor game of last year, Iowa isn't playing. They aren't moving the ball. Answer this question. When is the last time that Iowa was passing the ball, moving it around? I mean, I know they had one sequence after Chit Chat took that phenomenal charge. And they moved the ball around and they had a layup and they blew it, which they had a lot of blown layups. But when was the last time Iowa actually had some ball movement?
So you broke up at the beginning of your thing. So I don't know if you said something to preface that question, but I'm just going to answer that singularly.
Hey, real quick, caller, can you turn down your computer or whatever, because we're getting an echo?
I'll shut it down.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Kachine.
Our ball movement has been a problem pretty much all year. Let's be honest. I think that the ball gets stuck in many places. Hence why instead of trying to create a what's the word? A motion offense that moves fluid, the best option for those kinds of teams is to do a ball screen offense, right? Because at that point, it's simple. You set a ball screen, you move, you pass, you set a ball screen. Like, although that is somewhat of movement, it's still not the kind of motion offense that we have been used to seeing in Iowa women's basketball over the years. But yeah, it's a little stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, I know I get that Stremlo was starting to drive at the end of the game, and she was making some shots. That was great. But, I mean, we're not going to be able to do that against – I mean, Washington played abysmal. They shot 4 out of 20 from three-point range. I mean, once we get to the Sweet 16, if we can even make it out of the round of 32, we're not going to be able to rely on Stremlo driving in like she's Michael Jordan.
I mean, there's definitely some Jay's got some strong feelings. I'll be honest, I didn't think I thought Iowa's defense played really well in the second half. I can't speak to the second quarter. I missed a lot of the second quarter. I'll admit that because you're trying to pay attention to two different games, and that was when the men's team was trying to make a push to finish things off. But I will say this to Jay's point, the offense has got to be better if their defense is going to be as bad as it's been over the last 2 weeks. It's been bad. We're talking 80-plus points
Right.
to USC. They gave up, 90 to UCLA or 80? I got it in front of me. Whatever it was. No, I don't have it in front of me. But they gave up 80-plus to UCLA, USC, and Minnesota. I think they gave up 90 to Minnesota. And then today they were on pace with a 25-point first quarter defensively. Wouldn't you say the defense was – take the second quarter out of this. Don't you think the defense did disrupt a lot of what Washington was trying to do in this game?
No, I don't. I mean, I'll let Kachine answer that in a second. But no, I personally don't. I think that Washington was dribbling the ball off their foot, making passes to ghost players. I mean, Washington was playing like a high school team. Iowa's defense with Kylie was doing better and stuff like that. But I mean, they were just like Kachine said for the California games. They just have their way. They just drive straight to the basket. And we're not going to make it out of the round of 32 like that.
Okay, Kachine, you want to take your stab at the
I don't think our defense is where it has been this season. It's better. It was better than the last 3 games. I will 100% say that. I think that, like I said, it was a mix between us putting up some ball pressure. I will say that. And then this other piece that Wisconsin, I felt like they were taking shots that they were not taking in the first half or in the first quarter. Now, what I will say is part of that is because once you get sped up as a team, that tends to happen. You start taking shots that you don't normally take instead of like calming down and taking the shots that you want. So obviously that does have something to do with Iowa's defense, but I still felt like there wasn't a ton of times, even though they scored what they scored, that I felt like, damn, that was good defense. Like I didn't say that.
Right.
So for me, that's where I'm at with their defense. Again, much better, 1,000%, much better than it has been, but it still needs to be a heck of a lot better considering that we have our offensive issues.
Jay, we appreciate you calling in, sir. And
all right, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the call. Yeah, and I understand the frustration. I mean, like you said at the beginning, you just got to get off the schneid. You lose 3 straight, and the way they were losing those games. I mean, the defense, this team is, since Jan took over here almost 2 years ago, they've won games on the defensive end. You could argue they've been more so predicated on defense than offense. And so when you give up, 80-some, 90-some, you need a bounce back performance. So to give up, regardless of how Washington played, you give up 56 to a team that, was 7-4 or whatever in Big Ten play heading into this game. That's positive. And Big Grove's big play of the day was Chit Chat Wright's 4-point play. You don't see a lot of 4-point plays at any level. It's obviously a difficult play to complete, but she completed it, made it an 8-point game. And this game just kind of hung in the balance between Washington got it down to 1 or 2 at one point in that third quarter. But I'll tell you, Kachine, it was like 5 to 6 point differential most of that second half. And like you said, the concerted effort to get Chit Chat right open, get her shots. I know she missed a bunny tonight. She'll want back. But, boy, she was really good. She's our player of the game as well with 21 points, 6 of 13 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, along with 4 assists. But how big was that 4-point play there early in the fourth?
4-point play and and ones are always – any kind of and one, let's be honest, always gets momentum going, especially from the three-point line, because that does not happen often. So, I mean, I think that was huge in general. But Chit Chat and her, from start to finish, honestly, her aggressiveness was a bright spot for sure in this game.
A couple things. We are going to get to men's basketball. I'm not ignoring you, Doug. We're going to get you on here in a little bit. He says, good game to the Iowa women's team. I'll try to talk quick about the men's game. I want to think positively. The men will beat Purdue. We do need to address the men's game. We're going to get Gary on here in a little bit, and he's going to comment. I wanted to stay positive for the first 15 minutes or so, and so we're up almost at the 15-minute mark of airtime. I am going to admit, and Kachine, you watched the men's game, I am disillusioned by what we saw tonight on the men's side. And I say that because, they've won 6 straight. But the concerning thing for me is they really haven't looked good in a lot of those games. Even the games where they looked pretty good, like they'd have a good half and they'd have a bad half. Like Washington, first half was horrendous. And then they had a really good half. Today, like they could not stop the ball. And I asked Ben McCollum the question here yesterday on Zoom. I would encourage anybody who's not heard his answer to go on that video. Maybe I'll share it when Gary gets here. But I asked him, is speed a concern for you? Just lack of defensive quickness. And he said yes. I mean, he was being honest. I think he's as honest as you're going to get from a head man at this level to the media. And we saw that on display tonight. I mean, they could not stop the ball. And I'm going to ask Gary the question because he's commented on the past, Kachine. This is a very good defensive team if you're Iowa, but there are holes. And tonight it was Andre Mills, who was averaging 9 heading into the game. He gets a career high 24 points, 5 rebounds on 9 of 14 shooting. And then, of course, David Coit's a really explosive guy. Didn't actually have his best game, still scored 19. He's really quick. But, man, with 2 quick guards, Iowa's helpless in a sense. Like, they were helpless tonight, and Ben's got to figure that out. But you're a former point guard who defended really quick guards. I know this is men's game versus women's game, but just tell me what you saw tonight. I think it was a microcosm of some of their issues defensively this year.
Yeah, I think here's the thing with Iowa men's basketball is that that's not going to change, unfortunately, right? Because you don't just all of a sudden are able to guard quickness. That's just going to be their Achilles heel for the whole season, unfortunately. And I'm sure Ben
can't be that big of an Achilles heel. It cannot be the Achilles heel that we saw tonight.
Yes, however, it's still going to be one. Now, what made it look even worse is the fact that they couldn't buy a 3-point basket. They were wide open. I can't tell you how many times. Great ball movement, great everything, and then it's wide open 3, miss. That right there is probably one of the most deflating things, not only as a player, but I'm sure as coaches as well, because you do everything right on the offensive end to come up empty-handed. So even with your Achilles heel, if they even made half of the 3 wide open 3s that they missed, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So my mindset is, yes, I understand it can't be that big of Achilles heel. However, unfortunately, that's just where they're at. I don't know if they're going to be able to combat defensively in regards to that. Maybe a more team defensive scenario, because if you can't guard one-on-one, you ain't got no choice but to be team defense. That's the only other option you have. But then when you are team defense, that means you're giving up 3s.
Well, I would have been fine.
There's a give and a take, no matter how you put it.
I'd have been fine giving up 3s tonight. Here's the deal. Maryland is the 4th worst team defensively in the league. Or, excuse me, 4th worst team offensively in the league. And Iowa gave up 77 to them. And not only did they give up 77, we know Iowa uses a lot of shot clock. Maryland shot 54%, 53% for the game from the field and missed 9 free throws. All right. So, and Gary's got some of these stats because I was texting him a little bit during the game. Maryland shot 53% from the field, made just 8 threes and missed 9 free throws. At one point, Gary texted me, and this is a real stat. He's not making this stuff up. He charts this stuff. 10 of Maryland's 13 two-point shots when he texted me were layups. They'd made 8. They were 11 of 13 from 2. And I just said back to him, I said, blow-bys all night long. He responded, no help at the rim. I said, what can be done at this point in the game? It was like 2/3 the way through the game. I said, maybe go to zone. He says, no, play better, squeeze the court, help from the backside. So they
don't have a choice.
They never figured that out, though. I mean, they really never figured that out.
I think the one thing that would probably, if I know as a coach that we don't match up with quickness well, the one thing you cannot, under any circumstances, give up is offensive rebounds. You can't. Because at the end of the day, I felt like down the stretch, they were getting offensive boards. And I'm like, you can't give up that. Like, you, of anything, it's got to be a one-stop shop scenario. If they get a bucket, okay, we know that that's that issue. But you cannot give up offensive rebounds. You cannot do it. And I think for them, there was a couple of times where I felt like we were very soft on the interior. And I think that's something that they have to be very diligent about. Again, you can't fix your quickness. You're going to get beat. That's a fact. You can't tell your team that, but you're going to get beat. So how do we adjust to that? Whether we have to be a great scrambling out team, and then with the scramble comes what? People in place for offensive rebounds. So no matter how you flip it, there is a give and take. You just have to figure out what you're going to do. If you're going to allow them to shoot the 3, then you better make sure that y'all are getting the offensive rebound or the defensive rebound. You have to. But you cannot give up layups, open 3s, and offensive rebounds. And that's what I felt like they were doing today. Like, you gotta take away something.
Hawkeye Doug, appreciate the super chat. Good game to the Iowa women's team. We read this already, but just to credit, because we're about to add Coach Close here, and we'll also get Doug in here briefly. Doug believes they'll beat Purdue. Boy, it's a big game this Saturday in Carver. It's going to be packed. It's sold out. They need the environment. That's a really good Purdue team and an opportunity to kind of flush this one, but certainly an opportunity missed tonight. And it's, I think, to some extent, a damaging loss. Before we get to Coach Close, we want to give a special thank you to Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team. He sponsors each and every Iowa men's basketball postgame show here on the channel. We appreciate Brad. He's been with us for a long, long time. Give him and his great team a call at 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480, or visit him online at www.bradvanmeter.com. Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team in Des Moines. All right, at this time, we want to add former Iowa men's basketball coach Gary Close to the mix. Gary.
How's it going?
Welcome. It's so great to have you two together. This is two legends in your own right, so this is great. So Gary, Kachine, Gary, if you've never met on the air, I don't know.
All right, Kachine, how are you doing?
At the same time, but all right, Gary, I told you I'd make it brief tonight. Obviously, I know a lot of people want to talk women's hoops, and we respect that, but boy, this was a frustrating men's basketball game tonight. I tell you, this is as frustrated as I've been all year, and part of it's the expectation that is built when you win 6 straight, and the way that Iowa wins games sort of just felt like it went by the wayside tonight. I mean, defensively, I thought that was the issue. They weren't getting on the glass. Obviously, way too many open 3s, especially early, and then they just couldn't stop anybody from getting to the rim. And yet again, this is another example, as I said to Kachine here a minute ago, of sort of a nobody going off on you because you can't stay in front of them. All right? This is a guy who's a freshman who is averaging 9 points a game, and in Andre Mills, he plays 40 minutes and scores 24 and 5 on the glass. And he's not even their quick guard. It's David Coit. I mean, I think Andre Mills, based on what I saw tonight's got a great future, but I mean, I feel disillusioned tonight, Gary. You tell me I'm overreacting, because I'm sure I am.
Well, it's disappointing. You said that you win 6 games in a row, and you're getting ready for a big game this weekend. You go, 7 in a row go into that game, and you're playing a team that's really struggled. To lose, and I haven't seen every game, but it has to be one of their worst games of the year. I think at both ends scored. I didn't think they were very good offensively either. They shot a lot of 3s and shot a very poor percentage when their 2-point percentage was very high. And for some reason, especially late, they just would not take the ball to the basket and try to draw fouls. And Maryland would have fouled them. I mean, Maryland was already in the penalty very quickly, and so I thought they really left them off the hook, let them off the hook with all those threes that weren't dropping. And then, as you mentioned, defensively, they gave up a ton of shots around the basket, getting beat off the dribble, and nobody rotating and stopping people getting from the rim. And I think Maryland, I think I wrote it down, I think they shot 17 of 24 from two. That's like 60 some percent. You do that, you're going to have to play real well offensively to beat them, and they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I just we sound like a broken record to some extent with the blow-bys. I mean, it's just so ironic, and I'm going to play the clip here in a second because I'm guessing you haven't seen it, Gary, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers haven't watched it. But I get very little access to Ben McCollum in his press conferences simply because I'm 2.5 hours from Iowa City. But when we get him on Zoom, I do my best to be there. And yesterday I got a chance to ask him that question about just this trend that we're seeing, whether it be Cam Woods at USC, Zoom Diallo at Washington, is it Connerway, the kid, Tayton Connerway, the kid at Indiana. I mean, this is a trend. I mean, this is not something that's just rearing its ugly head here briefly. And I asked you during the game, do you go zone to try to combat the lack of quickness? Because Cale Combs gets in foul trouble. Isaiah Howard's having a horrible night. And Bennett Sturts, I thought, played as good defensively as any of the guards did, but he's not quick enough to stay in front of these guys. And so you told me, no, zone's not the answer. Play better, squeeze the court, help from the backside. Why weren't they able to accomplish that down the stretch?
Well, because they got beat the same way. I mean, the things that I mentioned to you there, they didn't do. I mean, they were beat off the dribble, and there was nobody rotating behind to keep guys from getting to the rim. And they were just too spread out and not reacting. You're going to get beat. I mean, there are times you're going to get beat off the dribble, and that's where you got to have confidence that there's going to be some people behind you. They're going to keep people from getting the rim and make them make an extra pass, and then hopefully you can pinch down and get a deflection, or at least stop them and make them shoot a 4 or 5 footer, not a point blank layup, which is what they were getting. So I think that's something they're going to work on a lot, because Purdue's got some quick guards, and if they look at that tape, I'm sure they're going to, 1, attack the basket, and 2, try to throw the ball into the post and attack him inside. So they're going to have to shore that up quickly.
All right, before we got at least one call I know that wants to talk to you, Gary, and then, like I said, I don't want to keep you here, but I do want to play you this clip from Ben McCollum's his pregame press conference yesterday, and I just want to get your reaction to what he has to say, and if you would add anything to this. And as I said to Kachine here a minute ago, I think Ben McCollum is as open and transparent as any coach that I can remember. And obviously Iowa's had tremendous stability at their head coaching position. But here's what Ben McCollum had to say yesterday in response to my question on speed and quickness and how much of a concern it is to him. And I know he's been in the portal. Let me see if I can get that standby here for just a second. Let's get the audio right. Let's get Doug in here. Doug, ask your. I know you got a question for Gary, and I want to make sure we get the audio correct on that. So go ahead, Doug.
Well, we went 7 for 28 from 3, only 25%. Last game I asked about 3-point shooting percentage, and we were at 40%. And today we only shoot 25%. You guys both and everyone said that that's not a huge issue. But we went Cooper and Alfreguer. I always mispronounce his name. The Spanish guy went 1 for 10 today. We aren't getting much from our anyone but Bennett. Is that a concern? I mean, a lot of people. Bennett's doing awesome, but we need someone to step up. Like, who do you think that will be, and why haven't they stepped up yet?
Well, I think in Cooper's case, he's a freshman. So they're going to be up and down. That's just kind of the way they are. He's too good a shooter not to be able to shoot himself out of this, hopefully. And I think the same thing with the Spanish guy, as you call him. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit more of a veteran, but he's a proven shooter. I mean, shooters are going to go through slumps like that. The problem is when you're doing it and you're shooting so well from 2, then you've got to take the ball inside and draw some fouls, get some shots around the basket, and then kick it out and maybe a shot of three. I just thought their threes. The game got to, I think it was 62-60, and so it's anybody's game, and there's like 5-6 minutes to go, and I think they went 0 for 8 from three from there on out, and really shot themselves out of the game. Now they're a good 3-point shooting team, so you're hoping that one of these is going to drop eventually. But I would have liked to have seen them mix in with some interior offense and then kick it out, drive it and kick it out, or post up and kick it out. Those shots are some of the best threes you can get.
And this question, I kind of want Cash to maybe even answer a little bit of this. We were talking about the quick guards. They only average 2 blocks a game, the men. How much of a deterrent would there be if – and we can't add a shot blocking guard. And you Coach, have said many times you're not big into the shot blocks, but you had ACL. If we had someone behind them after they would attack, would that make any difference if we had a big man that was a rim protector? With that, I'll leave the thing, and you guys talk about the women. Thank you. I hope that made sense.
Appreciate it.
See you, Doug.
What do you think about that question, Gary, as far as rim protection and having a big? I know Ben would love a big for both ends.
It'd be great. They don't have it, and it's not going to come walking through the door here, in the next couple of days. So you can still protect the rim with smaller players. You slide over, you take a charge, you wall up, you just don't let them get all the way to the basket. And, I saw it a number of times on both teams. I mean, even Iowa got to the rim a lot. I saw Maryland players literally jumping out of the way. Maybe they're afraid to get called for a foul. But, it's you allow a team to feel comfortable just taking things to the hoop time after time after time. Well, they're not going to stop until you stop them. And, both teams shot really well from 2. And in Maryland's case, they shot more of them. And I think that's one of the reasons why they won.
I promise I'm going to get this video up because as Sean reminds us, it's almost Gary's bedtime.
You believe the grief I take?
Are you living the bachelor's life right now, Gary? Can I ask you that question?
A little bit, yeah. My wife's on vacation.
And you're enjoying some time enjoying some time with Sam, right?
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
Well, games tonight.
Awesome. So I will hopefully again we get the audio correct on this. This is yesterday got an opportunity to ask Ben the question on speed and quickness, and this is what he had to say. Second part of my question, kind of going along the lines of Cam Woods, Tayton, Connerway, Zoom Diallo. It seems like maybe some of the defensive struggles you guys have had has kind of centered on staying in front of quicker guards. Is that a concern of yours right now? And if so, how does your team combat that at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a concern. I think there's a few things that are always somebody's, I guess, concern or Achilles heel or whatever it may be. And some games that's a problem, and some games it's not. Part of those two particular situations is, the gravity was elsewhere. So, the gravity of what they're doing was with Tucker DeVries and Lamar Wilkerson. And so you're kind of paying attention to them because you got an a twitchy guard can get downhill. Zoom Diallo, obviously he was having good games, but you're still focused on those two big guys. And then I believe it's number 9, Wesley Yates, maybe. So you're still kind of focused on those other guys. And so, I think when we focus on specifically a twitchy guard that can get downhill, I think we do a pretty good job, but you have to be able to do it when you're also focused on other things. And that's where we need to make sure that we improve on.
Tyler? Okay. Just your instant reaction to that response, Gary.
Yeah, I think it's a good answer. And anytime you're playing a team that's got a lot of weapons, it's going to challenge you defensively. If they got great 3-point shooting like an Illinois team, you got to get out there and guard them. That's going to create, more lanes for people to drive. But there still can be. You're still, even if you're trying to be aware of some other players, you still got to be aware where the ball is. You can't just not watch the ball. And when the ball's the most important thing. And when that's going towards the rim unmolested, somebody's got to get there. And it's usually not from the same side because they'll kick it out and just shoot a 3. It's got to be somebody from the backside that's got to get over there and not let them get to the rim and let them make an extra pass, and hopefully you can recover. So I think he's right. I think there have been times where they have played it well. This was not one of the nights. And quite frankly, that team didn't have a whole lot of weapons to really scare you to where they couldn't have people in there to help. I know other teams do, like Michigan, some of the teams are playing. But I thought defensively tonight was one of their worst in terms of who they were playing and how they were getting beat with a team that's not a great three-point shooting team that just got to the rim way too much. And I think it's reflective on what they did on the offensive end. If you shoot too many threes, you're not going to go to the free throw line. You're not going to get a lot of offensive rebounds, especially if you're shooting them quick. And so they get out rebounded, and they don't shoot as many free throws as they normally do. And that can, in a way, can affect their defense at the other end.
Yeah, my Cliff Notes version of what Ben McCollum said in that response was, when we scout a quick guard, we're fine. But when we're focusing on DeVries and these other top guys, we struggle with our tertiary defenders, if you will.
Sure.
But that was going to be my question to you, Gary. Like, this Maryland team, I mean, I know that what's his face, Andre Mills, wasn't number one on the scouting report, but quick guards had to be at the top because Maryland's got the fourth worst offense in this league. Like, they're not some offensive firepower team. So I guess that would be my question: is how does this happen against Maryland? Where was the backside help?
And it wasn't just guards driving it. I mean, literally the whole team was driving it. So no, I think as far as Maryland goes, no, there weren't the weapons that they've had to face, like with an Indiana or some of the other teams they've played so far, Iowa State. And that's why you got to pay attention to the scouting report. Who can you help off of? How far can you help off? Now you can't help off a long way from Sturts, or he's just going to drill you. And so you got to know that. I think their team defense wasn't as strong as it normally is. And then, of course, when you give a team like Maryland who's got nothing to lose, you let them hang around. All of a sudden, you're down to a finite number of possessions, and anything can happen. Now it happened last night to Illinois against Wisconsin. They have a 12-point lead, and then they let them get back in the game, and now it's coming down a stretch, and Wisconsin made more plays. It's happening to Michigan right now at half. They're down 9 to Northwestern. I mean, that's unheard of in terms of matchups. We'll see how they can recover, but usually it starts on the defensive end. I mean, if you're really giving up way too many easy baskets, it's a tough. Teams build confidence, and now they get even harder to guard than they should be.
Yeah, and that makes me feel a little bit better that Northwestern's playing Michigan tough. Because honestly, like, here's the crazy part about this, Gary, is you can't take away from 6 straight wins in the league. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, this has not been murderer's row, and they didn't look great again. They almost blew the USC game, right? If Cam Woods make that last 3, they lose that game. I know you don't like the what if game, but that's the reality. The Northwestern game was ugly on Super Bowl Sunday, and they pulled that out at home. They gave up 77% from the field in the first half against Washington. I get it. I'm going glass half empty in my approach here, but it just scares me as your average Joe watching them lose this game at 2-10 Maryland tonight, because it's like, man, they've been winning games, but they haven't been playing well, and today they didn't play well the entire game. What will this plane ride home be like for Coach Mack and this staff?
Well, it's disappointing, but in this league, as we've talked about before, you look at the tape, you point out things that you got to get better at, and then you got to move on, because if you don't, Purdue will wax you. I mean, they're that good. So you can learn, but then you tomorrow you walk in there, let's go over the tape, then that's it. We got to focus on Purdue because they're coming off a great win, and they're a very, very good basketball team as well coached. And if you're not moving ahead, then you're falling back. And against a team like Purdue, that's crazy.
And I do have a question here from Brian. He says, was the hip to Bennett a flagrant at the end? So that should have been a foul, right?
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it might have been a foul.
I mean, he got decked. But they can't go back and review it unless they're going to call it a flagrant, right? There's nothing to review. What did you think of the officiating tonight? A lot of whistles in that second half.
Both teams.
Yeah.
Both teams were fouling like crazy, and the officials didn't cost them that game. Their play at both ends cost them. And I think coach would say that right off the bat. You start blaming officials for a game like that, you're not going to improve. And if you don't improve, you're not going to beat the better teams they got coming up. So they got a lot of things they can work on watching that film to get better. And that's that. And in some ways that's exciting because, look where they are and they've got room for improvement. Now the question is, will they improve? And that's going to take work and commitment, and hopefully they'll do that.
My last two questions for you, Gary. One being, how damaging is this loss? We said it heading into the game, it was a quad 3 game, unless that changes with the win for Maryland. Maybe they move up into quad 2, but they're quad 3. You can't afford quad 3 losses. So my guess, I'm no bracketologist, my guess is this moves them down at least a seed line. And I think they were projected by a lot of people along the 8 seed. So my guess is they're at least a 9. I don't know how. I know somebody said this somebody texted me actually at the end of the game and said, well, the committee tends to value good wins versus, bad losses, right? They give you more weight. I don't know if that's true or not, but can you erase the effects of this with a win against Purdue at home on Saturday?
Yeah, you go a long way to erasing it if you can beat Purdue, and you got some other games down the road that can erase it even more. So just like we talked about, you can't worry about it. You got to learn and move on. And in this league, you just got to do it. This league is too tough. And we found out Maryland beats Iowa. Northwestern's giving Michigan a run. There have been upsets with bad teams winning, or upsets, and that's just the nature of the league. So they had theirs, and they don't want any more. So they got Purdue and Nebraska back to back. We'll find out in those 2 games just how good they are, without a question, because those are 2 really good teams.
That's why they needed this win tonight. Gosh, it's just so frustrating, man. Yeah. JSC Hawk says, ask Gary why we won't take a charge. They took a charge tonight. Actually, Brendan Hazen took a big charge in that second half. He came in. I thought he gave them a spark, but to Kachine's point, man, that kid I know he's a quick trigger, Gary. I know he is, but man, he had open threes down the stretch. He made 2 early. I don't blame the kid for shooting them. They're open. Yeah.
I thought they should have got the ball inside more. I thought, especially on a road, you got to get to them. They could have gone to the free throw line. They're a good free throw shooting team. I thought their triggers from the perimeter were a little quick when it wasn't going well. And I thought that was part of the problem coming down the stretch. There were a lot of quick threes. You're not going to draw fouls with quick threes. And then it's hard to get offensive rebound with quick threes. So I think it all kind of combined, and you give a team confidence like that, and all of a sudden you got trouble on your hands, and they made enough free throws. They tried to let them win. I mean, they're making free throws, they're making some incredible turnovers, but offensively we just couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, let me just give you a stat, just a couple of stats that blow people's minds if they didn't watch the game. Iowa turned the ball over just 4 times to Maryland's 14. Iowa also went to the free throw line 17 times, only missed 4, whereas Maryland missed 9 from the line. But the problem is Iowa was -9 on the glass. And to Gary's point, I mean, this was all defense, in my opinion. I get it. I mean, if they make some of those open threes, maybe you sneak by. But, boy, you give up 77 to a Maryland team that turns the ball over 14 times and didn't shoot the 3 ball all that well. You just got to be better. And that's why I think Ben McCollum's going to be – he ain't going to sleep well tonight, even when he gets back from College Park. My last question to you, Gary, I'm sure these next 2 days are going to be tough days in some regards, but you also got to manage – you just traveled 2 time zones, came back. You got to manage rest and all that because you got a really big game on Saturday. What are the keys for Iowa to play well against the Boilers on Saturday? I mean, I know it all starts with Braden Smith.
Yeah, he's terrific. They're going to have to be physical. I mean, Peru's going to try to beat him up. They're going to try to beat him up posting inside. They're going to try to beat him up off the dribble. They're going to try to beat him up physically, defensively. I think they've got to I think they got to be a physical team, a smart physical team without fouling. And they're going to have to guard a lot better because Purdue's got more weapons than Maryland does. And I think they're going to have to really have their best game defensively. And I think they're going to have to be physical. They're going to have to at least try to get even on the boards. I think Purdue's going to try to beat them up, and they're going to have to stand their ground.
DC Hawkeye lives out that way, and he says he was at the game and it was worse in person. No one was there in the arena. They
It's
looked lethargic.
unbelievable.
Yeah, that was
They can't
weird.
even do that flag thing they do in the end zone because there's no people there to do it.
There was nobody on the sidelines, like right
I
along
can't
the
believe
behind
it.
the
That used to
benches.
be a great venue for basketball.
Yeah.
Oh man, have they dropped off?
And DC Hawkeye also brings up mostly 3-point attempts down the stretch. And I will say this, Gary, I asked you the question before. It wasn't just Bennett tonight, but when they're in desperation mode late in games, he just jacks threes. As much as I love Bennett, they got to figure late game offense out.
He was 4 for 10 from 3. The rest of them were 2 for 18.
Yeah.
That's it right there. I mean, and he took good threes for the most part. He may have forced a couple, but he's played well enough. He's allowed to force a couple. Those other guys, I'm not quite so sure. I think that the 2 for 18 from the other guys from 3 had a lot to do with them losing.
Appreciate that super chat, DC Hawkeye. And Coach Gary Close joining us here following Iowa men's basketball's 77-70 loss at Maryland. They need to bounce back. Huge game on Saturday against Purdue. Gary, thank you as always for your time, and we'll look forward to chatting with you following. We hope to be a really big victory against the Boilers on Saturday.
That would be the case. Kachine, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate the time. All right, we are back. That was good stuff. Always good stuff from Coach Close.
Turnaround.
Say that again, Kachine.
That's a tight turnaround.
What? Oh, the Saturday? Yeah, especially when you travel to the East Coast and come back, and then you're playing them. And they could have played the 7 p.m. Not that I care, I guess, but it was either going to be 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. And last week they announced this game at 4 p.m. So just a few less hours of rest and preparation, I guess you could look at it that way. So I know we got people who want to chat about the Iowa men's basketball team. And of course, the reason we're here, Big Grove Brewery, the official craft brewery of the Hawkeyes. Check out their locations in Des Moines, Solon, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, now in Omaha. Beautiful locations everywhere. Big Grove Brewery, and their tap room is awesome. Their food is awesome. Their beer is awesome. Visit biggrove.com to learn more and tell them from the Hawkeye of the Storm sent you. Let's go back to our phone line. We've got a couple of people who have been very, very patient. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line? We can't hit if we can get. All right, try it one more time, sir. I think we got you now.
Oh, hey, can you hear me now?
We got you.
Oh, awesome. Hi, this is Brian from Minneapolis.
Hey, Brian.
Please, I'm sure you guys are up late and tired, so boot me whenever you need to. I'm going to start with my favorite thing I saw tonight, and that was Stram blocking that 6'6" gal. I thought that was just a great play. It reminded me of when Kate Martin blocked Lee Yeru in the W. But I had an analytics question for you.
Okay.
I looked at the box score, and there's some interesting stuff in the box score, but Iowa only had 12 assists on 25 made baskets, and that was very low for their normal process.
Mm-hmm.
Is that unique to Washington? Is that a trend? Or is that just, who cares, we won the damn game?
Good question, Kachine.
Who cares? We won the game.
I mean,
I mean this in the way of it's hard to say. I'm only saying this because if we are usually when you have assists, a high number of assists, it equates for the most part to good basketball, right? Like you got great shots, you pass the ball. And some people say when that is not the case and you have a low number of assists that you had tougher shots. And I wouldn't say we had tough shots tonight. So I'll take it for what it is.
And I will say they only turned the ball over 9 times. It's very rare that the Iowa women stay out of double figures in turnovers, Kachine. So, I mean,
Yeah.
a little less.
That could also equate to more ball screens that we had today. There's no assist in ball screens.
True. And maybe this is a bad explanation, but I think the offense just is less vulnerable to turnovers when it's. I know Taylor is not, immune to turnovers. He turned the ball over a couple of times tonight, but I think right now the offense looks better when it's Chit Chat and Stremlow in the backcourt. And Stremlow played 30? She played 32 minutes to Addie Deal's 13 and a half. That's a big differential, Kachine. So I guess to piggyback on Brian's question, like this was the first, we haven't really talked about Stremlow starting over Deal. You've been calling for this at least since the trip out west, and we saw it happen tonight. It worked, I guess. I mean, as of right now, she's just playing better than Addie Deal is.
Yes, I've been saying that since. Well, I said Addie Deal shouldn't have started anyways, but that's nor here nor there. I mean, I don't know if I would have done the 30 and 13, but hey, I guess beggars can't be choosers, can we?
Brian, anything else?
Oh God, I had a whole. I should have some index cards prepped up. No, I felt like Journey Houston still made her presence felt, even though her numbers weren't great. I think that just for context, last year Washington stopped Iowa's 5-game losing streak, and this year they stopped Iowa's 3-game losing streak, and so maybe there's some magic there. I don't know. I don't, just as a public service announcement, I'd like to tell folks that I don't advocate this or recommend it, but you can find illegal streams of these games on YouTube pretty easily. I don't have Big Ten Network, but I was able to watch the game tonight. So again, shame on folks who do that, but
well,
it is out there.
Wink, wink.
I will say the Big Ten app was having issues for me, and I know it was having issues for you, Kachine. It's I don't know. Maybe that was just tonight. Maybe it was just a one-off, but I know it wasn't my internet. I streamed the men's game just fine.
What's funny is we bought my mom the Big Ten Network BTN Plus for something, so that she could watch the games on her iPad. But the illegal stream I was watching was having trouble, and then my mom was texting, "Are you having trouble? Because the Big Ten Network isn't working very well." So I feel like it's kind of I don't know. And here's the question: do you think that the announcers on Big Ten Plus are like?
Let's not discuss that.
Hold on. I have to say something.
Those are students.
Every time you guys have said and talked about announcers, whether it be Big Ten Plus or any other place, I've always said, like, honestly, I didn't notice it. I don't really pay attention to it. Today, I was like, my brain was about to explode. I don't know what it was about today, but I was like, whoa. I had to put it on mute. I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. I don't know if it was the voice mixed with some of the stuff they were saying. I don't really know. But this is the first time in I don't know how many years I've been doing this where I felt like the announcing was affecting the game. First time in 3 years. I was very shocked.
I do really want to give those guys grace because they are students.
Yes, they're young, so I had to give them grace.
I just wish that the situation were different and we didn't have a top 25 Big Ten matchup that's sold out on Big Ten Plus that's narrated by students. I just think that's unfortunate.
Agreed.
You're putting those students in a cool position, but also a vulnerable position. That's what I would say. So, Brian, you know how I feel about Big Ten Plus. I wish these games didn't exist there, but I gotta watch them. Not that I don't enjoy watching them. I just don't want to have to pay Big Ten Plus extra money. So, but you do what you got to do. So, appreciate you calling.
They got to get exposure somehow.
I appreciate the sideline reporter's commitment to Pink tonight because he was fully into it. I do like the pink uniforms, and I like that they put people important to them on the backs. That
is
feels
cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Anyway, well, I'll let you guys go. I appreciate you.
All right, sir. Appreciate the phone call. All right. This is an action-packed show, and we're not done yet. So, big thank you to Gary Close for calling in here just a few minutes ago. If you missed that segment, you're just tuning in. Just rewind the tape later and catch Gary's breakdown of what happened in the men's loss at Maryland. At this time, we want to scroll over to Carver-Hawkeye Arena, where we have, from the Hawkeye of the Storm Zone, Isaac Nichols there live. Isaac, welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Looks a little quieter there now than it was about 30 minutes ago. So,
yeah, one of my notes from the game is that the loudest that I've ever heard Carver was there was a little girl whose birthday it was, and she did maybe 10 consecutive cartwheels, and Carver went crazy. Literally the crazy, like, not that Carver's ever been quiet when I've been here, but more so that, like, every single person in the entire stadium was cheering for her.
So
100%.
Deborah must have watched on TV, because she said, where was the Carver crowd tonight? She did not hear them. It was a good crowd, wasn't it? I mean, maybe it was Big Ten Plus that didn't do it justice.
Yeah, I mean, full attendance. It was good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess let's first of all hit what Jan had to say. I know you got to attend the press conference with Jan and a couple of the players. She's got to be happy they got off the schneid, the 3-game losing streak, the defense. I mean, I asked Cash off the top. 25 points given up in the first quarter is not a good start when you're coming off 3 really poor defensive efforts, but allowed 5 in the second and really staved off Washington the entire second half. Jan had to be thrilled.
Yeah. She was. I mean, the two things that she kept saying, the two phrases, was locked in and reformed. So I thought that was interesting that, like, those were the two things that she continually repeated in every single question. She said the one negative or maybe self-critical part was, I got to be better coaching them and getting them in better positions. But I think that's a part of this rest that they've gotten since their 3-game losing streak. Just I know that she said they gave them 2 days off and then went back to the basics for a lot of their drills. So a lot of fundamental drills, just reminding them, she said this as a quote, reminding them what's needed. So it was good to hear.
And this decision to switch Taylor Strimlow and Addie Deal coming off the bench tonight, and it's been reflected in minutes played, but it was really reflected tonight. Addie Deal played just 13 and a half minutes to Taylor Strimlow's 32 minutes. I know she was asked about the possibility of that happening yesterday. It came to fruition today. I'm guessing that got brought up in the postgame.
Yeah, a little bit. She specifically said that there's the statistics showed that Addie Deal, I mean, the start was a bunch of pressure, so she was shooting worse percentage wise, and she brought up very specific shooting percentage numbers. But I mean, yeah, give her a break. Don't put too much pressure on her. I mean, continues to, like, we just remember that she's super young, like a year from high school, but that wasn't a huge point of contention at all. I think it was pretty understood that the West Coast situation was just really tough.
Surprised they didn't make that change after they came back from Westwood, Kachine? Are you surprised that they waited for the second of the back-to-back home games? I mean, obviously, maybe you have a little bit longer to make that decision with the week off between Minnesota and Washington.
I mean, it was my assumption is that, obviously, like you said, the West Coast trip was way too much. They were hoping that they wouldn't have to make the change. So they figured they'd give her another game at home to hopefully get her back into, the rhythm of what she was doing beforehand. Problem is, you can't do that. She's a freshman. She's not just going to automatically snap back because she's home. Like, that's not how it works. So I I guess I'm different because she shouldn't have started to begin with. I said it was too much pressure from before it even got there. That doesn't make sense.
Here's the deal. Let me just say this from my perspective, Isaac, and I've expressed this to Kachine, but now more than ever, because we've seen them go back and make a change, and one game sample size of Stremlo starting over Deal in this situation without McCabe, it looks like this is the better option right now. It does not matter at all. I want to make this very clear to everybody. It does not matter one iota what Addie Deal's recruiting ranking was last year. It means zero. It doesn't do anything for anybody right now. Who's playing better right now? It is February 11th, okay? They need the best players right now. Who's giving them the most on offense? Who's giving them the most on defense? Who's crashing the glass? Who's getting loose balls? Like everything collectively, it's all hands on deck. And it's not even, right now, it's not even close. Now, Addie Deal had a couple of games where she looked like the better player. But you got to measure this holistically. And I agree. I think maybe it was jumping the gun. I do think timing-wise it was sort of – we even said after Taylor McCabe got hurt, Kachine, we're like, well, this looks like the perfect time because – I mean, not perfect time. You never want anybody to get hurt. But I mean perfect time for Deal to step into a role because she had been playing really well with Taylor. And then Taylor goes down, horrible situation, but you think Addie's ready. And I think and I'm not saying you did, but myself and a lot of people who were heavy on that boat jump the gun on that.
Yeah, I mean that's the hope for a program like Iowa, and I guess every single program ever. You have to hit on your big recruits when you get them. It's super important and imperative to success. So that's just what do you put all your chips in, and I mean, it'll turn out hopefully next year or even later down this season. But to think that any given player, especially one so young, has arrived off of a couple of games. I made that mistake too.
And I do appreciate this comment from Ascent77. He says the Big Ten Plus app was buffering the entire second half. This makes me feel so good because that's what my experience was. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just me or my account. No. So Big Ten Plus ought to refund people a lot of money because that was a miserable thing to have to deal with. Had nothing to do with your internet. So people don't be calling your internet providers tomorrow. All right. What am I missing, Isaac? Anything that stood out in the post-game presser?
2 free throws allowed. That was a huge, Jan's maybe a little long-winded for some questions, which is great. Get a lot of content, but got a lot of just a long answer about maybe some luck, but then some X's and O's. So it was really good to hear just like that is a goal of theirs, but tonight was kind of a star child, if you will, because that's so few.
Yeah, and the other thing about this game tonight that stood out, Kachine brought it up right away, and I know we can talk it to death with Jan and the players post-game, but Hannah Stulke, 16 rebounds. It just seems like this team is totally different when she's giving you that level of production. And in general, it seems like she's either giving you, and I'm living in the moment a little bit because we went back and looked at her stats, but throughout Big Ten play, when they've been playing well, she's given you 12 to 15 rebounds a night. And, that's good stuff. Is there an advantage rebounding the basketball to not being through 5, Kachine? I mean, being able to crash the glass as a 4. You experienced that as a point guard that nobody expected to crash the glass. And, didn't you have a season where you averaged like 8 or 9 a game? Or did you have a season where you were in double figures? Yeah, I
averaged a double-double one of my years. I don't remember which one, though. Either junior or senior year.
I like how you nod like it's just no big deal, right? Like, yeah, I did that.
Because if I didn't have 10 rebounds at the end of the game, I was pissed off. Like, I would go into halftime in the locker room, and I would go look at how many rebounds I had. That was like a thing for me. Like, I'm getting 10 rebounds more just because I knew that was something that our team needed. So, yeah.
Yeah, so is there an advantage not being the true 5? I mean, I know she's not a point guard, she's a 4, but schematically, you're able to gobble up a few more boards.
No, because she plays a 5 too. It doesn't matter. She's just constantly moving. Now, I think that's where her advantage lies. But I don't think it matters. I think a lot of people joke because it's like, oh, it's easy to do this or it's easy to do that, but it's all the same. You're still outworking your defender.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Isaac, appreciate you being there. obviously, this was a better result than what we got on the men's side. I don't know if you were able to catch any of that beforehand.
Yeah. A lot of people had it up during the game, and a little disappointing.
Yeah. There's going to be quite a crowd on Saturday for that Purdue game.
Yeah, but we gotta. I mean, I think the thing you got to think about in press row, like just live in the moment. You're at a game that you're going to win, end up winning. So don't worry about what's on the.
So you weren't making calls for the officials to get tackled or anything in that game. There were a lot of whistles in the second half of that men's game.
No.
It finished a half hour late. For people that don't realize, it finished a half an hour late, which means if you were just tuning in from the men's to the women's game, you missed the entire first half of the women's game. I mean, it finished a half hour late, and there was no overtime.
Nope.
So, anyways,
yeah, that might be a bad sign.
yeah. And you would think that would actually help Iowa, the slowed down pace, and because Maryland wants to get up and go, and that disrupts rhythm. But again, we've belabored that point. So, Isaac Nichols from the Hawkeye of the Storm. We appreciate you being here, Isaac. Get back, just like Gary Close. Get to bed. You're old. You're tired. You're a geriatric. So just get home and get some shut eye because you need it.
I might get back in time for bed. My bedtime's 10 o'clock, so
okay.
We're on pace.
All right. Well, you don't have to do any write-up, so that's not involved in this position. So you don't have to worry about that. Is there any other media people around you still working?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
About 6. Mm-hmm.
So they'll work on their write-ups while you get home and get in bed. So
yep. All the youngins.
One more comment here from Make Your Memories Loud. They say post-game Jan talked about adjustments on D after the first. Players actually executed, responded well. Glad to see their defense back some. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, was there anything in particular she pointed to that would change from the first quarter on?
That escapes my memory, but that is in the post game.
We're going to get that video up here in just a few minutes for folks. If you haven't listened to Jan already, we'll get that up on the channel. So, All right, Isaac, appreciate you being here as always, sir, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Isaac Nichols from the Hawkeye of the Storm. I know we're way behind on stuff, and we're not going to be here all that much longer. But I am going to get that video up. I'm trying to do three things at once, so please understand. Annie says the Hawks pulled it out. This win is a lift. Absolutely. We appreciate you being here. How about Sigmund? Kind of negative Sigmund. I don't know who Sigmund is, but Sigmund says, I disagree. It's a win far from a good win. I would call it a weak win. I don't really know when a win against a top 25 opponent is a weak win. I mean, I get there's still concerns there that exist, but they play a lot better defensively. They made a change I think you and I have both been calling for with the starting lineup. And Hannah Stolke was bringing it, and we know that's essential to them having success. What are you doing with your hair? By the way, people are asking in the chat.
My hair.
They want to know about your hair. Can you tell? Is there a story on the hair?
What do you mean a story?
Well, people are asking if you switched things around, or I don't know how that works.
I mean, I would assume so. I've been on this post game with hair to here, so considering it's all the way down here, I would think so.
Hey! Don't.
These are braids, okay? In case anybody wanted to know, they are braids.
All right.
Okay. Yes. So yes, I did change them. I did do my hair. Well, I guess I've always done my hair, but it's different now.
Well, the compliments have been flowing into the chat, so
thank you.
People are excited about your hair as well.
Yes,
so.
I got braids.
Awesome. Well, you look good. So let's go to our next caller. We got somebody who's been on hold. I'm not going to tell you how long they've been waiting. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander, who's on the line. Hello.
You jinxed it.
I don't know what they. Hello, welcome.
Hello. You're
all right.
On with Corey and Cash.
Call back. All right.
Did you just hang up on them, or did they hang up on you?
Oh, I hung up on them. I mean, there's nothing going on.
Oh, dang. How long were they on hold?
Again, I'm not.
An hour? No, more than we've been on this podcast?
Not more than an hour. I mean, we got a lot going on tonight. All right. I think we got our caller back on the line. I can hear my
Hello?
echo, so I know we're here. Hello, welcome.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on. Hello.
Oh, hi. This is Annie from New York.
Hi, Annie. You got Cash with you.
Hi, guys. Oh, hi. Okay, I watched both games. We watched the men's game and the women's game. We were able to work that out. Sorry for the men. That was kind of a frustrating loss for the guys, but I'm really glad the women won. I thought that was a much needed uplifting thing. I was happy to see Hannah Stolke. I thought she did well. I thought she played really well. She was productive. She had good stats. Shearbach, she sealed it with that nice 3 near the end. I think that kind of wrapped things up. So I was impressed with that. And, Chit Chat, I think she's a spark. I have a lot of confidence in her. So I watch her the whole game. I think she just makes things happen. I just wish Ava could be more consistent, a little more presence. She had an okay game, but I just think she needs more of a presence in the paint. That's about it. But I'm glad they won. That's a nice lift after the drought they had.
It's a good breakdown from Annie. Kachine, we haven't mentioned Ava Heiden's name, I don't think, on this show tonight. Yeah, she was a little...
Nothing to mention.
What's that again?
There's nothing to mention.
Yeah, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5 of 10. Why'd she struggle so much tonight? I mean, from the
one, she was in foul trouble, so there's that.
She
gets in foul trouble a lot. I mean, well, not a lot, but it gets her in trouble. It ruins her game sometimes. But it was a good thing that Stolke was productive tonight to kind of make up for that. You know what I'm saying? I thought that kind of complemented that.
If they don't get Stolke's 16 rebounds, because they were still -9 on the glass, Kachine. I mean, we've talked about Ava Heiden staying out of foul trouble. I mean, to me, this team is, I know we've talked about guard production, but if you don't have offensive play from Ava Heiden and energy from Hannah Stolke, this team's not going very far.
I agree. Yep.
And,
you could just see that. Exactly. You nailed it. Yeah.
And they probably don't win this game on the road. Like if this game was played out in Seattle, because Washington probably shoots the ball a little bit better. My guess is they don't win this game on the road.
No. I don't think so either.
Anything else, Annie?
Yeah, well, you guys are talking about the commentators.
Yeah.
My husband does. My husband puts on the Hawkeye. I don't know his name. He does Hawk Talk. I don't know what his name is, but we love that. Yeah. What is that guy's name who does Hawk Talk? He's the dynamite.
Well, for the men, it's Gary Dolphin, and for the women, who is it for the women? It's Rob Brooks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Somehow my husband tries to get that to sync with the radio broadcast, and that's just, we love that. That works for us. Just saying, because you guys had mentioned the commentators. So when that gets very frustrating, because I do feel your frustration about the commentators, I suggest you find the radio broadcast. It works for us. Just a suggestion.
I've heard people that say they sync it up, so I've not taken the time to do that. I usually am just
I know
too lazy,
it's a little challenging. My husband's technically unchallenged like I am. Just saying, I can't do it either. But anyway, thanks a lot for the show, and you guys stay safe and warm, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Appreciate it, Annie. Thank you for the call. What is going on your end, Kachine?
I'm gonna be in tears. Commander Cody.
Say about what? Oh, he
just it has me in tears.
Come on now. We in here. We can't even understand.
I literally love Annie, but that is hilarious.
New York, Boston,
literally tears. Oh man, that was good.
All right, let's go to our next caller. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Jay again. Let me know if I'm breaking rules by calling a second time, but everybody's non-existent tonight.
Let's see what you have to say, and then I'll let you know.
Okay, so since Hayden, let's use a real-time example. Since Hayden had 3 fouls going into the fourth quarter, this is a Cash coach question because we sorely need an assistant coach because the coaching is abysmal. So Hayden has 3 fouls. It's the fourth quarter. Do you start her for the fourth quarter? Because she picked up that fourth foul right away.
I think that depends on how you end the third. And I can't remember exactly who ended the third, or was she in the game to end the third? I don't remember that piece. But I think a couple of things go into play there. One, how are we playing with our small ball? Because sometimes you could do it, sometimes you can't. However, with Ava, I'm probably going to lean on the side of not, only because I don't trust her. I mean, I just don't trust her. And then we're in a situation all of the fourth. You said what?
I said that's common sense. I mean, the coaching moves. Everybody is looking at it, and they're like, "This is just like we're making coaching decisions like we're on crack."
Well, I mean, there's a two-part. One, you do have to give a little bit of rope to Ava, because if she's going to learn, you're going to have to give her time to fail to a degree, right? In the sense of that. And I think that's probably where Coach Jay is struggling, because again, you have on the flip side, you have people who are complaining, why isn't Ava playing? Why isn't Ava playing when she's not fully in foul trouble? And I'm like, because Coach Jay is trying to save her, right? Like, she's trying to not get her in foul trouble. So it's a kind of a give and pull with Ava in that aspect, because you're like, okay, what if she doesn't, right? Like, what if she doesn't do that? And we do this. There's a lot of things that run through your mind at that time. I just don't trust Ava, and she hasn't gained that from me. And so I'm more of a coach who's like, you got to earn everything on the court. I don't care what it is. Playing time, to me, to trust you playing with fouls, you have to earn all of that. And so, but I do know that's not an easy place to be in, because Ava at times is our best player. So how do you combat that with her? Plus, Layla isn't a fantastic backup option either. So it's like, it's a give and pull with that. But for me, she hasn't earned the trust, so I'm not starting her that fourth. I'm not going to have her to start the fourth quarter. See if I can spare her.
Corey can chime in on this too. So why not write up some plays, or have, like, on the defensive side, have a defensive scheme for like a Audie Crooks, or if Avery Howell goes off, like bump her off the ball, like when she's shooting 3-pointers. And then when Hayden's having a bad game, write up some plays, like a double screen action. Like, do we have a game plan at all?
When you say write up plays, for who and what?
For Hayden, like, to get her the ball, instead of dumping her the ball off like the top of the key, try to get her some interior passes in, or can we run her a double screen to get her open? I
don't think Ava was posting up enough, in my opinion. Today, I don't think she was posting up enough. I think she was giving up her position entirely too early, and was not holding her position enough to get the basketball. That was my opinion today on her, which is why I didn't really bring her up.
Yeah, it's not opinion, it's a fact. Everybody's seeing it. Like, Hayden's going downhill real fast, and it's non-existent.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I that might be a little bit extreme, but we'll see. I will say this: there were a couple of times tonight, Kachine, where her defender is just posting up under the, like, they're just sitting under the rim, waiting for her because they know she's not going to dribble. Like, that's one thing I just wish Iowa post players knew how to dribble a little bit. That's why I've said that before. I'm like, I mean, it's great that she can, stop and hit that pull up from, the mid range, but it'd be nice if she could dribble and hit a little floater, or just at least take the ball to the rim when somebody's playing that soft off of you. But Jay, appreciate you calling back, sir. We'll look forward to talking with you next time.
Bye, Sheen. Bye, Corey.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Bye.
All right. We will have that post-game press conference video up here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. Last call on the phone line. If anybody has a comment for Miss Cash Money, Alexander, or myself, certainly feel free to call in. Our big play of the game, Chit Chat Wright, and her 4-point play early in the fourth quarter that put Iowa up by 8, 55-47, with just over 9 minutes to go in the game. And she hit some big shots off screens. And as you mentioned, Kachine, you've been calling for more ball screen action and just stuff for Chit Chat, giving her the opportunity to create in space. And we saw that tonight. Anything that lined up with your whiteboard recommendations?
Yeah. I remember that one specific play. I do think we have more ball screens today, which I appreciate. But one in particular, like I said before, they were sagging off of Hannah, of course, even Ava, honestly, at that high post. And instead of her even stopping at the high post, she just ran straight to go set a ball screen. The only problem is that the post players were on the wrong side of the court. Other than that, I was fine.
Pete Larson reminding everybody, hit that thumbs up, folks, if you're on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple, please give us a 5-star rating and a positive review. Again, please, thumbs up here on YouTube. Thank you both for reminding everybody and for being a premium member and for being on our Discord. If you're interested in joining our Discord, instructions scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Melly says there's only 169 people who have liked the video. Let's do better, please. Richard,
guys.
seniors on the team next year. Seniors on the team next year. We've talked about this, haven't we?
Who is that supposed to be?
Say that one more time.
Who is that supposed to be?
Let me look here. Who is it supposed to be?
Jada.
No, Jade.
Right?
Wait a minute. Jade is done. Jade
Is she?
she's a senior. Seniors next year would be Kenise. Technically speaking.
I hope she's in the portal. Go.
Kenise and that's it.
Well, then, yeah, I hope we have no seniors.
Well, they're going to have to go get somebody in the portal.
Well, you're right, but that are currently on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, they and Kenise, I guess, technically could. I mean, she's not. Maybe she's played every season, but she has to be eligible for a medical at some point if she would want it. But Iowa's not gonna take her for a 5th year. I mean,
they better not take Jada either.
15 roster spots, Kachine. 15.
That would be astronomical. You hear me?
I hear you.
That would be insanity.
Get some extra classes in there. And,
go ahead, get your degree.
Yeah.
And go be a content creator.
She's got her degree. OG Hawk says, is Callie sick tonight? No minutes. No, she just didn't play any minutes.
Broke her nose. So
yeah, she did break her nose. So unfortunate, but and I've said I do think she deserves some minutes, but I thought Strimlo played pretty well tonight. Kurt says the men won't make the tournament. They would need to absolutely.
I don't see that happening.
They're not going to lose that badly. Courtney,
you know how many spots they got to fall?
Yeah, and
they're at 8.
They may lose. They may lose some games here in a row. They could lose to Purdue and Nebraska, but those losses.
That's fine. Do you know how many spots they have to fall? There's 4 spots per number.
Okay, Courtney wants to know, why did it take them so long to shift to actual playmaking that gets Chit Chat open for 3? You brought that up earlier.
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, no idea why it took them that long.
Ascent 787, is Strimlo a better defender than Deal? Yes.
Yes, without question.
Yeah.
Deal is Taylor McCabe freshman year.
I think she's a little bit better than that.
Man, listen.
A little bit.
You guys, here, I need y'all to understand something. Her off-ball defense is one of the worst I have ever seen.
Off ball?
She provides no help whatsoever. Like, she doesn't even have a foot in the paint. And she is 3 passes away. Like, what are we doing? But her concept, Taylor at least provided help defense. She may not have been the greatest on-ball defender in the history of ever, right? But, like, she at least provided help defense. Give me something. But, Yeah, she's a special case.
All right. Brandon says things don't usually bode well when the women's team gets beat on the boards, points in the paint, and fast break points. I think bench points they won. Also, Washington had many long minute droughts.
Oh, it was one of those games. Okay.
What do you mean it was one of those games?
So, like, there's times where in games you're watching the game, right? And then you look at the stat sheet and you're like, how did we win that? Like, because the stats don't match up with what you actually saw on the court. It's one of those games where if you lost with all of that, then I mean, if you won with all of those things not in your favor, it's one of those games you just can't really explain. It just is what it is.
Here are the stats for Iowa. Shot the ball much better in the first half versus the second.
Pause.
But, for the game, shot 50% from three, only shot 12 3-point tries. Made 9 of them. Again, 9 of 14 from the foul line, 46% from the field, and they were bested on the glass 35-26. They actually beat Washington at turnovers 19-9. So the men and the women taking care of business by double figures in turnovers.
Ava cannot have 3 rebounds. That's insanity.
She cannot have what?
Journey cannot have 2 rebounds. That's Taylor Stremlow cannot have 0 rebounds.
Yeah, that number can't be. Yeah, you need
no. Nobody has more than 3 rebounds outside of Hannah.
That's what I'm saying. They still lost by almost double figures on the glass in spite of Hannah having 16.
Yeah, because nobody else rebounded. Everybody was like, "Oh, Hannah's got it." I've been there before.
Well, yeah, she's got to be really good.
Me. That's what I've told people many times.
Yeah, Ava's got to get more than. Yeah, you're right.
The 3 is 3 in 27 minutes. Girl, what are you doing?
And Layla's minutes are almost gone.
Well, I'm not surprised because Journey's taking them.
I know, but man, like she ain't playing at all. So
well, she's not giving them confidence. So there's that.
Yeah, right now Addie's minutes seem to be going down, and Layla's minutes are going down. So, what'd you think of Kylie Feuerbach tonight, Cash? You gonna hate? Somebody's gonna.
I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Same thing. I didn't have nothing to say about Ava. I ain't got nothing to say about Kylie.
Okay. She hit that big 3 at the end. That was big. And REM Property says she thinks Kylie looked a lot better this game. Defense was tough. Hit that clutch basket. Just 1 turnover, and she doesn't remember it.
I could say this. You know what? If I'm going to say something. I do feel like her intensity on defense was better, but she's still getting blown past. I don't like that.
Looks like, based on the chat, that Michigan pulled it out over Northwestern.
Yes, 83-75 with less than a minute left.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Iowa struggled against Northwestern, but they did win that game. All right. I think we're going to wrap this thing up. Courtney says, thoughts on finally putting Stremlow in the starting lineup. How do you have that conversation with Addie Deal?
It seems like exactly what I thought she would say, considering that's how she put it in the press conference.
What, that we're keeping our minds open? And
No, that she's better off on the bench because of confidence-wise, and maybe it's better for her if she gets to see the game because that's the stats provide that.
Yeah.
Not being mean or anything like that. You're still going to get, well, I hope she didn't say that.
John Hess, Iowa was ranked 15th, Washington 25th, top 25 matchup. Why was this on Big Ten Plus with such poor announcing and glitchy video? Why were they not on ESPN, Big Ten, or Peacock? Look, this is the TV.
Maybe they thought that they weren't going to be good this year. So
yeah, I mean, these are the TV deals. They only get a few games now on Big Ten Plus. Big Ten Plus is a student-run project. And so there's part of your answer. The glitchy video, Big Ten needs to do a better job. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate that you have a top 25 matchup in that situation. I've said that before, but it happened. So
yeah, it's also on a Wednesday. Why is it on a Wednesday when you know that's men's basketball time is beyond me?
Yeah, and to overlap I don't know why, if it's on Big Ten Plus, why can't we play the game at 7 or 7:30? Why do we have to overlap the men's game? I always hear about how TV dictates everything. Well, once we figured
It's
out
not on TV.
well, it's on Big Ten Plus, but once we figured out the game was at 5 Central, why can't you put the women's game, push the women's game an hour back? Or at least a half hour back? That was dumb. That's a great point. I didn't think about that before just now. REM Properties. Erica, you can push a game back. You can change, like,
For times, yes.
yeah, like they just set the. I would like to know why you can't push a Big Ten Plus game back a little bit. So I don't know. Whatever. The Iowa women's basketball team defeating 25th ranked Washington by a final score of 65-56. The Maryland Terrapin men defeating Iowa 77-70. Much to my disillusionment. They'll try to bounce back in a huge home game against the ranked Purdue Boilermakers this coming Saturday. Brad Van Meter is a proud supporter of our post-game coverage. Be sure you contact Brad for a free insurance quote first thing tomorrow morning. Give him a call at 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480. You can also visit Brad at bradvanmeter.com. Brad Van Meter and his Hawkeye team of State Farm agents in Des Moines. All right, Cash. Another good show. Glad to see this women's team bounce back. They needed to get off the schneid. Kind of these two teams just kind of every night they go in opposite directions, right? The men win 6 straight, women lose 3 straight, and then now they've kind of reversed roles tonight. So we'll hope that the men can get back on track on Saturday. The women, they will play on Sunday. Another big one, Kachine. They'll play in Lincoln against the Nebraska Cornhuskers Sunday at 11 a.m. Excuse me, on Monday. Mark my words, 11 a.m. Monday because it's President's Day. 11 a.m. Weird time, I know. It's on Fox.
Well, I'm gonna be here
in Lincoln. You work on?
I work.
You work on President's Day?
Yes, the government is working. Why I don't know, but hey,
on President's Day,
I don't ask questions. I just show up. Trust me, I've asked the question. But yeah, I guess there's something where we have President's Day, but we get like the day after Christmas, Good Friday, and the day after Thanksgiving. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I will be at work.
But it's just, I just looked this up. President's Day is a federal holiday.
Oh, I'm aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how are we going to get through the show without you? I just don't know how we're going to pull that off. So,
well, I try.
We'll see what we can do on the middle of a day on a Monday.
Maybe I'll try to call in or something.
Yeah, let's
for a little smidget.
Let's risk let's risk the government job for.
And I'll be like, it's a national holiday. Like it's a government holiday. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that you work.
Me and you both.
Yeah,
I had to check it a few times because I was thoroughly confused, and then ask coworkers because I was like, "Is this right?" They're like, "Yeah."
Well, let's hope you don't come down with an illness that prevents. You. So
crazy.
You could get food poisoning the night before, so we won't wish that on anybody, Kachine, but if it happens, we're here to welcome you with open arms. All right, folks, stay tuned because we'll be posting the post-game press conference with Jan Jensen here on the channel in just a few minutes. Thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up button on the way out, and I will talk to you Saturday following Iowa and Purdue men's basketball. Have a great night.